So let's knock this one out of the park. Can Pan go Super Saiyan? What was actually stated or told to us from the staff of Dragon Ball as far as Pan's ability to transform into a Super Saiyan? Can she do it? Well, like with a lot of Dragon Ball stuff, there's never really a clear answer and there's contradictions. So let's talk about it right now. So let's wrap up all the misinformation surrounding this with actual facts. All right, let's do some quick little debunks about Pan and whether or not she can go Super Saiyan. So the first idea that fans had for years was that there were no female Super Saiyans, that women that were Saiyans could not become Super Saiyan. This is obviously incorrect, especially now with Dragon Ball Super. We've seen female Saiyans. We see it in the video games, and now we're seeing it within the Dragon Ball Super story. And we know that Caulifla was a character that Toriyama did create. Kale was not. That was an anime exclusive character. But Caulifla was absolutely a Toriyama creation, and thus women can go Super Saiyan. So it's not a gender thing. Now, back in the day, Daizenshuu number 7, the guidebook states that Pan cannot go Super Saiyan because her Saiyan blood is too diluted. However, the problem with that is that at the end of Dragon Ball GT, we see Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr., who is a long descendant of Goku from several generations ahead, being able to transform with no problem. So the Daizenshuu was obviously written before the end of GT, so they didn't know that they would do this, but that pretty much eliminates the guidebooks. And that's why I always say that when it comes to the guidebooks, we can use them to help us out with things, but there are contradictions, and depending on when they were written, they were retcons. So you never want to take them too seriously, and you always want to compare and contrast with the actual anime. But we never actually see Pan go Super Saiyan. It is possible that during the 100-year time skip from the end of the fight with the Dark Dragons to the final scenes with Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr., that Pan was able to do it, but it's never really seen, so we don't know if she ever did. Now, that being said, Toriyama himself did state that there should be no problem with women going Super Saiyan, and in fact, in the Battle of Gods arc, the TV version, not the movie version, we actually see Videl not really become Super Saiyan, but we see her eyes turn blue and her hair turn gold as if she was, because there is energy going through her that triggers that sort of mutation. So that being said, that would lead many fans to theorize that it's only a matter of time before Pan can become Super Saiyan, especially since this version of Pan is Toriyama writing the character, not the writers of GT. Now, speaking of the writers of GT, there is an interview with Hozo Morishita from the Dragon Ball GT Dragon Boxes where he discusses the reason why she never went Super Saiyan, and the reason why is because Morishita states that Dragon Ball GT had a very specific role for her to fill, and that is being a damsel in distress, which a lot of people might not like, but that's what he said. And I quote, he writes, Dragon Ball GT has an episode where Pan is turned to a doll, but that episode established the pattern of Pan sets the incident in motion while Goku resolves it. So basically he says, it would break that pattern to make Pan a Super Saiyan and strong, but perhaps Pan could have become a Super Saiyan at the episode where she was turned into a doll had it been a later one. So Dragon Ball GT, rather than giving Pan the transformation and a power-up, instead made her Goku's sidekick that he always had to bail out of problems. That is the role that they gave her, and we did not really see a true female Super Saiyan until the era of Caulifla and Kale many, many years later. So, can Pan turn Super Saiyan? The answer is yes. For all intents and purposes, if she trains and does everything that everybody else did, especially with the whole S-Cells retcon that Toriyama discussed recently, there's no reason as to why she shouldn't be able to. Will she ever turn Super Saiyan? Well, Toriyama is rewriting stuff like Broly and redoing his story and making changes in retcons and whatnot. So even though Pan, the way he wrote her was just as a child in Super and in the original Dragon Ball manga, if Dragon Ball does keep going past the end of Z, this time with Toriyama as the head creative force behind Dragon Ball, then there's definitely a possibility that we will see Pan go Super Saiyan and maybe even compete with Caulifla and Kale someday. Who knows? Thank you for watching, and let me know if you think Pan should become a Super Saiyan, if you would like it, if you think that her and Bra could be the next generation of fighters. Let me know. I'm curious, and thank you. Talk to you soon.